And we are recording, okay? So I guess we'll just wait for some people to come in. Aaron, can I still hear you?
If I talk, can you?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome.
So here, let's do this. If I share my screen, you can see SketchUp, and you can still see my face, right, in the box?
Yes, your little box on the side.
All right.
And
so let's do this. Maybe we'll wait for some people to come in. Let me get the participants. Okay, so we have two attendees. Shauna and Tammy are here.
Awesome.
So I think maybe we will wait for a few more people to come in, but I will model some random things. And since we were talking about meat wall, this is how it works, Aaron. Check this out. Well, of course, I did the wall backwards, but that's okay. I guess backwards, depending on what your views are on, where you should start your drawing.
Put siding.
But check that out.
That is very cool.
It's like, it's done.
That is awesome. Very nice.
It works really, really well. I got roof truss diagrams and stuff. Of course, I'm gonna look at this. It does like all these different kinds of roof trusses, and I started digging around with these things, and it's really good.
He has really made an impressive, I'll call it a suite of software. And man, he just put, because this right here, what you're showing on your screen is what the company I used to work for was framing.
That's right. What was the name of it?
Keymark was the name of the company. We made an extension for SketchUp called Build Edge, but the main portion of our software was framing software like this. And I can tell you that wall framing in particular is one of those things where there's 2 million ways to frame any given wall. And depending on who you talk to, all but one of them are so wrong. So,
well, it's funny where the garage we're planning. It's a box with a peaked roof. It's a very simple staircase in it, and I started trying to frame it out, and I got this, and I mean, obviously I know SketchUp, but I'm not like an experienced framer, and I got this thing, and I was like, well, job, after screwing around with it for 5 to 10 minutes. So it's like, well, job done. The garage has been designed. It was great. It was totally great.
That's so cool.
So in our attendees list, we obviously have our friend Tammy Cody. Shauna is, I would say, an actual attendee.
All right, private show.
So my question is, Shauna, since this is our first one of the day, can we speak to you, or can you speak to us, or send us messages in the chat? If you have any special modeling requests, since you're the only one here, send them over. And this is the Shauna show right now.
So just for Tammy and Shauna, who weren't aware, that KBIS is having some issues with their site right now. So the show is kind of in general on hold, and we scheduled our first presentation right just after the start of the show. So you guys are lucky. You guys are well, Tammy's here. Tammy has the next presentation. So she's here to learn from Eric, obviously. But yeah, Shauna, you did it right. You were getting a custom show.
So if you have the ability to post a question, there should be a Q&A button somewhere on your screen. Aaron, you can probably describe that better because you are an attendee.
Yeah, right at the bottom. So everybody has found the chat. So we actually have, Tammy's wondering what you're going to show today.
Here's the chat. I have it open.
All right, there you go. Shauna's looking to learn. So I would say just fire away. We're recording this, so we'll be able to reshare it. I would just show what you're going to show. And because I haven't seen your cabinet extension in, well, it's probably at a show like this many years ago when we were able to do these face-to-face. You remember those? Remember face-to-face shows?
Yeah, I know. We'll see if it works. So Shauna, I'm going to assume that you said you kind of want to learn everything that you can about SketchUp, that you're somewhat new to it. So we're going to do like a quick sort of crash course into what SketchUp can do, and then like what extensions can do. So SketchUp is a pretty generalist modeler. If you want to model kitchens, if you want to model a rocket ship, if you want to model a landscape architecture, or how you might change a city around, you can do all of that in SketchUp. And it comes with this very generalized set of tools. So I'm actually going to hide these ones over here for a second. So when you start SketchUp, this band of tools at the top is all you really need to do most everything that I just described: rocket ships, landscape architecture, anything else. So what it's really, SketchUp's really magical at is being able to model complex things really quickly. So let's say we were doing a kitchen and I wanted a wall, something like this. Actually, if I'm going to do this, we should do it right. So to make maybe like an L-shaped kitchen, I would do something like this, offset that wall about 4 inches. And so we're working in 2D now, but it's really in perspective 3D. You can see how I'm orbiting around. And then very quickly, this is where the magical part of SketchUp happens. You get into 3D like this. So you can see within 30 seconds, I was able to make something 3D, and I used 2 total tools. I used the pencil tool and the famous push-pull tool that can turn something into 3D. So like this is the magic of SketchUp. It's like how quickly you can lay something out. So typically when I do a kitchen design, I'll come back with typically like a wrinkled up piece of paper of field dimensions, and I'll start laying out my walls from those dimensions in here like this. And so then I'll do things like set up where the window is. So let's say I know that this window is 4 feet off of this wall. It's 36 inches wide. These are called construction lines. So these let me, oh good, sorry, Sean, I'm just catching up on the chat here. So it says that you've been using Sketchup for about 4 years and you've taken classes from Tammy. So I'm just gonna go ahead and shut the session down, because if you've taken classes from Tammy, you know everything. No, I'm kidding. So we'll show some of the extensions here. So let's finish up this wall really quick. So we'll say 42 inches high, and we'll just put our window in here. Okay, so extensions. Let's get right to it. We'll just make our wall a group, because I'm trying to model neatly here. All right, so let's say you want to fill this thing up with cabinets. And you could do that reasonably easy in SketchUp. So one of the methods that I do from time to time is I will make cabinets, to the correct dimensions, like this. So this is a 36 by 24 cabinet. It's 34.5 high, and I might make this a grouper component. And it's just a general block. And I would use something like this if I was just starting to lay something out, and I really wanted, just to get a feel for what the space is going to look like. Obviously, these are very quick to make, but if you want to make an actual cabinet, you could do it in SketchUp, sort of with the native tools like this. You could draw like a side panel and then extrude it and then copy it and make another panel and then add your toe kicks in. And while it is quick and pretty intuitive in SketchUp, you can kind of get the idea. If this was like your typical 14 cabinet kitchen, this would take you a while. So you say more fabulous kitchen. So this is what we're going to do. So if you want to make kitchens faster, you can use an extension like this one. So Shauna, if you can put in the message, have you installed any extensions before in SketchUp? See if that comes through here. Okay, so I won't show you how to install extensions since you've clearly already installed some of them. Oh, we've got our friend Steve here as well. Welcome, Steve. So this is how the, okay, great. So you already have Sketches, so you need to learn it. Great, so let's just jump right in. All right, so this is the toolbar. We've got a settings panel. You've got this little BB-8 shaped person that's for your account. And then you've got single cabinet, multiple cabinets, single door, multiple door, single hardware, multiple hardware, and dynamic component options, which we'll get to. I'm just going to put this over here. We'll get that in a second. So if you click the single cabinet button, that's going to bring up this big window here, and it's going to ask you to sign in. And let's hope I remember my own password. Does he remember his password? Does he remember his password? He does. All right. So you're going to get this large window, and this gives you, the ability to browse bases, walls, talls, doors, plumbing accessories, that sort of stuff. And when you browse this way, you get like a larger window, and once you select a cabinet, this window is going to close. So let's select our sink base. And so this will load into SketchUp, and it comes in sort of attached to your mouse pointer like this. And you can just, I typically like to click it and set it down, and that will leave a copy of the cabinet. And you can click and keep clicking to add more, but we only need one sync base, so we're just going to delete these for right now. So now you have the cabinet, and it's on the ground plane. So what I typically like to do next, if the cabinet is not like turned the right way, you can hit M for move tool, and that's this 4-way arrow up on the top bar here. And if you hover over the cabinets, you see these red plus marks. And so if you hover over one of the plus marks, and it allows you to rotate the cabinet around like this. And the trick with this, if you haven't, Tammy hasn't shown you this yet, is that if you're far away from the protractor, your angle is somewhat arbitrary, but if you're close to the protractor, it'll snap at every 15 degrees. So you can get it turned like this, so it's moved towards the window. Once you click again, you're still on the move tool, so I like to grab it by the bottom corner and just stick it on the wall. And then you can hover it over it again, and you can select the midpoint. So click and release, and you can slide it. And so I want this cabinet centered under this window here. And it's going to be on the green axis. Now here's the tricky part. If you hold down Shift like this, it will lock it on the green axis. So no matter where I move my pointer, this cabinet is now going to slide along this wall. If I let go of Shift, the cabinet's going to move all over the place, which we don't want. So we'll hold down Shift, and then I can just snap to by pointing at the center of the window, and it will kind of magnetize itself right there. So now we've got that sync base, that 36-inch sync base, snapped right on the center of the window. So now, if you want to fool with the options, so this may be a part if you haven't dug super deeply into this. So if you have the cabinet that you want to alter selected, and you click this button all the way at the bottom of our toolbar, this will bring up component options. So these all come in with a standard configuration. We try to pick the most common sizes, like typically sync bases are 36 inches. So we try to make it so that you get the most likely configuration, but if you want to change it, it's pretty easy. So let's say we wanted a 42-inch sync base. So we'll just type in 42 and press apply, and you'll see that the cabinet gets a little bit bigger. Now, there's an interesting thing. So these are called dynamic components in SketchUp. If you're super geeky, these are something that you can create yourself. Although I will say that on my first cabinet, I had over 100 hours invested into the first one. So not for the faint of heart, which is why we created this catalog. But there's some funny math that has to happen with these. So one of the things that people who are new to this plugin sometimes get a little bit confused about is the requested width versus the actual width. And without going into a very boring, in-depth discussion about how SketchUp calculates the scale of components, it essentially works out like this. You have a depth increment and a width increment multiplier. So I don't know what kind of cabinets that you typically sell, but if you're doing something like builder grade or hardware store style ones, they oftentimes come in 3-inch increments. So you can change that to 3. So you could say, hey, I want a 41.125 inch wide cabinet. And if you do that, it's not going to accept that because that number is not divisible by 3. So what it's actually going to give you is a 42-inch cabinet. It's going to round to the nearest one. But if you change that increment to 0.0625, let's say, something like that, now it will take that 41 1/8 and actually give you a 41 1/8 because the increment that you gave was below, it's divisible by the number that you put in here. So that often gets people a little stuck in the beginning. We typically leave these at 1/4 of an inch. They feel like it's a good compromise between allowing you some flexibility, but not allowing you to make cabinets that are in weird 64ths of an inch. So we'll put this back at 42, like that. And then, so that's kind of that. The rest of the options in here, you can change, the amount of drawers you'd want across the top. You can change the amount of doors. Let's say you wanted something crazy, like a, I don't know, a 5-drawer base or something. I think that'll work. You can do something like that. Maybe 4 is better. You can change this one here. So this is going to stack doors on top of each other. So you can kind of see pretty quickly, the idea when you look in the catalog is that less is more. So we have, very few individual cabinets that have kind of the popular ones, but each of them has a lot of like flexibility in it. So moving down, oops, you can go through here and you can add extended styles. Let's say you want, like a scribe that you want to cut off in the field, scribe to a wall or another cabinet or something. You can do that. You can change the door overlay. So if you want to switch over to something a little fancier, a little full overlay, it'll close up those gaps a little bit in there. We also have inset, beaded inset, frameless, and 3/8 lipped. So kind of all the popular different door configurations that are in there. You can do side recess. So if you want to back the side panel off into the, into the face frame like that, that's always an option. This is one I was actually just emailing with somebody the other day on this one. Let's say you wanted to eliminate the top drawers. There's two ways you could do that. You could go download a cabinet that we have pre-configured with no top drawer, or you can just change the top drawer height to 0 and it will just take it away. Same goes for things like the toe kick. So if you change the toe kick height to 4 inches, it won't just smash it. It'll actually remove it so that it goes right to the floor, or, obviously you can make that higher, lower. If you're doing like ADA cabinets or something like that, you can sort of create them with those settings. So that's kind of the cabinet basics there. Some of the other like hidden tricks and features. So I showed you the single cabinet button here, which opens up this big browser. And again, the big browser is kind of meant so when you, if you click into a cabinet, or you go, if you go to like a different category, something like, let's say we go to the how to use things thing. It allows you to see like the video that walks you through of how to create these things in like a larger window. So it's easy to view in SketchUp. But if you're like a little bit more of a power user, you can go to the multi-cabinet one here. And what this is going to give you, it's the same catalog, but it's a narrower view. And it kind of lets you keep the window off to the side or even on a different screen if you're on a dual monitor thing. And when you click to load a cabinet in, the window does not close. So that means you can go in here and you can very quickly get a variety of different cabinets. So if you're putting a kitchen together that's got a bunch of different cabinets, oops, not want a help thing. We want some actual cabinets here. We'll go to talls, get a couple talls. So you can kind of, this is what I like to do, is just go in and grab everything that I think I'm going to need in the beginning, set it all in here, and then I'll sometimes just move this window, off or out of the way. And then, oops, I can get in here and, start kind of gather up all my Legos, as it were, and put these in there. So let's stick a couple. This is not shaping up to be a real pro level kitchen design, but we can fix that. So here's another trick that I like to do. And here, we'll put this one in here. So this is an issue that I run into fairly regularly. We'll just close this out for a second. So let's say I put this first cabinet down here, which was very easy to do because I was able to grab it by its corner and just stick it along this wall, just like I did with that sink base earlier. And but let's say I want to stick this cabinet to the far corner of this one, the corner that we can't see. So I could click on the move tool and click on this base one, and you can't really snap to the other side. So I could rotate around here, and SketchUp will, there's two ways you can do this. If you're kind of looking a certain way, SketchUp will actually make the thing that you're looking through transparent, translucent. And then you can kind of go in and you can find that corner and snap. And this is new for 2020, I believe. When Aaron gets back, he can correct me if that is a 2020 exclusive feature. So you're kind of looking. I nailed it? Nice. So that'll let you look through a cabinet like this and snap it in there. If you are on an older version of SketchUp, or you're in this situation where you would like it to snap through something, and you can't get it to the other side. This is the trick that I've done for years. So you can go to View, and you can go to Face Style, and you can go to X-Ray, and this will put SketchUp into X-Ray mode. and you can click the move tool, and now it makes it a lot easier because you're seeing through everything. You can put your cabinets, snap them to each other like this. Now here's the tricky part. You do have to go click view, so click view, that's 1 click, then click face style, that's 2 clicks, and then click X-ray, that's 3 clicks. So it's like 6 clicks if you want to toggle back and forth. So I do it like this. I have a shortcut key set up so I can toggle back and forth very quickly. And you do that, let me just move my zoom window out of the way here. And if you go to window, sorry, I'm on a Mac, SketchUp and preferences, and on a PC, you go to window, and there's a SketchUp preferences in here, but you can go find, bring up this window here, and it'll bring up shortcuts. And if you just search for something like Ray, you can assign whatever key or combination of keys that you like to the shortcut X-ray, or actually any shortcut in SketchUp. So I assigned mine to X. So now when I tap X, I can just switch back and forth. And I use this all the time when I'm designing stuff like this. So I'll have a cabinet, I'm in the middle of a move, just tap X. I get that side thing there. Tap X again, and I'm back to normal. So highly recommend setting that one up. Let's see, what else do we have in here? Oh, let's do doors. So the cabinets come in standard with this kind of shaker frame and panel door style. It's pretty generic. It's kind of meant to be that way. So it kind of works for most designs. But let's say you want to change the door. So you can click on the door icon. And there's 2 ways you can change the door. So let's say we wanted this, I don't know, let's go with this beadboard door. So when you click a door, it's going to come up with this dialog, and it's going to say yes to replace all doors in all active cabinets, no to pick doors individually, or cancel, choose again. So I'm actually going to pick no. And what this is going to do is give me a little cursor, and each door that I now click on, it's going to let me change them. So I can go through and pick the ones that I want to swap out. And it will swap them like this. And then when you're done, just press space bar. So now, let's say I wanted to do it a little differently. Let's say I wanted this entire bank of cabinets to have different doors. So I can just select them using the select tool, which is the arrow tool in SketchUp. And I can go over to doors. And let's find, let's see, let's put this Summit flat panel. So the dialog's going to look a little different. Now it's going to say yes to replace all doors in selected cabinets, and now I'm going to hit yes, and it's going to go through here, and it is going to change. That was not a very exciting door style, but it did go through and it changed them all. So this is a really good way to change, big swaths of cabinets or individual cabinets at one time. The icons, so single door and multi-door. Single door brings up this big browser window, works just like the cabinet browser, where when you select something, this window goes away. If you want to do things a little faster, you can do this multi-doors one, and same sort of thing, you get a more compact browser, and as you select these doors, the door browser stays there. So it allows you to go through, and pick different doors as you go along. So it makes it a little faster to do stuff like this. So that's the difference between the multi-select and the single select. The last one is hardware. So you can do same sort of thing. We have individual hardware, multi-hardware. So let's say I want to put some cup pulls on some of my drawers. Same dialog, very similar to door swapping. So I can say yes to replace all hardware in all active cabinets, or no to do it individually. Since I don't want cup pulls maybe on my doors, I'm going to do this individually. So we'll go in here and let's say I want to switch this one and this one and this one, and we'll leave those alone. And probably want a cup pull over here. So I hit spacebar when I'm done. Same deal here. You can do multi-select and go in here. And let's say I want to put like a curved pull on these doors like that. So pretty simple there. So now, Shauna, if you're still with us, here is the super double secret features that are actually not really documented anywhere, but you can access. So when you have this component options dialog open. Anything that's a dynamic component in SketchUp, our stuff or anything else, when you have one of those dynamic components selected, you get all of these options where you can configure them. So here's the tricky part. So dynamic components in SketchUp, like these cabinets, are made up of groups of other dynamic components. So right now we have the cabinet selected, but if I were to go in and actually let me just do this on a kind of a generic base cabinet here. I'll show you what I mean. So we'll take another sync base here. Okay, so I have this sync cabinet selected. And just move this off over here like this. Okay, so I have this cabinet selected. These options are exposed. These are the ones we just saw. So if I double click on this, it's taking us inside the component that is this cabinet. And you can kind of tell because we have this dotted bounding box and the rest of our model is kind of grayed out. So now I can select on just the front of the cabinet and you get what's called face frame assembly. And what's cool about face frame assembly is that you can configure some extra features. So occasionally we have people that want to mess with the face frames a little bit more than we give you options for. So you can go in here and you can say override face frame setting, and you can turn on like a center style. So that is not a feature that's exposed in the normal setting. So if I hit apply, you now get a center style. I'll turn off X-ray here so you can see it. You get that center style in there. And you can see all the face frames got a little bit bigger. That's because they're now defaulted to this 3 inches, but you can change the sizes if you want, and you can change them all individually. So occasionally people want like fatter face frames on there. So this is something that's, I think we might have a video floating around somewhere, but it's not in the regular documentation because this is a slightly riskier place to get into because you can theoretically click on these other parts, and sometimes there are features in here that maybe you shouldn't be touching, but you're certainly not going to destroy your model if you do the wrong setting. You might break the individual cabinet. You just have to download a new one. But these are some sort of hidden extra features that are in there. We also sometimes get people that want to do crazy stuff, curved things, pipe chases through cabinets, just kind of really odd stuff. And what I would recommend, and I'm assuming since you have learned from Tammy, you probably have some pretty good SketchUp experience under your belt, is I would recommend thinking of this plugin as like your 80 to 90% solution. And what I mean by that is this. So let's say you wanted to do a farm sink. Okay, here, let's get a not destroyed cabinet. We'll make a little farm sink here.
Hey Eric?
Yeah.
It is right about 11 o'clock. So
okay.
Might want to make this your last. I'm assuming I let us go through Q&A time because, well,
Yeah, well, we're kind of doing Q&A right now. So wait, I go to 11 and then that's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you want to show this example and then wrap it, that would be great.
Okay, so super quick. This is my recommendation for doing something like a farm sink. Is you're going to have a tough time making this into a farm sink. So here's the trick. Go in here and find the hidden door, which actually just means you're deleting it. And then, so get the cabinet the size that you want. Use the options, make it whatever general size that you want, and then go in here and just keep clicking until you find the part that you want to delete. So like this top rail would be something you would want to delete, and just right click it and click hide. And then use this as a template to start drawing your farm sink. So I'll just kind of make a rectangle here, pull this, and the recommendation is, and again, I'm going to really quickly just kind of make this. I probably should learn how to use this program. So we'll go right here, go like this. So farm sink in under a minute. So there's your farm sink. The recommendation when you do something like this is get the cabinet to the right size, because when you start kind of messing with the internals and you try to resize it again, sometimes the cabinet can blow up. But think of these as like just a starting template, and then you can do curved work and all kinds of other stuff. So with that, if you have any follow-up questions, my email address is in the contact info or the info for this that should have been emailed out to you. Feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to answer any additional questions. And I'm going to turn this one back over to Aaron, and I'm going to fill the moment where I'm trying to figure out how to do that with some random chatter. So let me go find participants.
You're doing a great job.
And we'll find, let's see. Oh, you are a panelist. So we'll go to Aaron. And we're going to say make host. See y'all later.
All right.
Change host. Okay, you should be the host now, sir.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Thanks, Eric. That was awesome. I actually learned some stuff there. There's some stuff that I had not seen before. So, yeah. Well, with that, I'll say thank you. Thank you for hanging out, Tammy and Shauna, and hopefully we'll see you in a future one. And thank you, Eric, for presenting.
No problem, guys. We'll catch you later. And if you need me later on the day, just text me, call me, and I'll pop back in.
Sounds great.
All right, guys. Bye.
Thank you.